what's happening with this migrant crisis by speaking to Ulrich Brueckner. He's a professor of European Studies at Stanford University and is joining us from Catania in Italy. Professor Brueckner, thank you very much for being with us here on TRT World. So as Melinda was saying there, we've had some repatriation flights. There is some discussion of diplomacy trying to bring an end to this crisis. Do you think we're just seeing the end of phase one of this?
Well, this is a large geopolitical chess game. And I hope for the people who, as we heard before, some of them have already lost their lives, it will come to a good end if there is anything like this. But it will certainly not the end of the big geopolitical game that we have seen, starting with the manipulated elections and the demonstration in Minsk that have been oppressed, and then journalists have been imprisoned, and Lukashenko hijacked a European plane that was flying from Athens to Lithuania. So there was a chain of events that made the European Union impose sanctions on the dictator, and he in return uses human beings as a bargain chip to negotiate with the European Union and to ease the situation. On the other side of the border, the Polish government, that is very much under pressure domestically, instrumentalizes the situation to distract people from what's going wrong within Poland. And Poland is also in a fight with the European Union in a dispute over the supremacy of European law over national law, a fight they cannot win. And they stage a situation that this could cause a war to appear as a hardliner government that taps the xenophobic feelings of people in the countryside. So it's a terrible, terrible situation in which everyone has a perfect chance to lose.
Absolutely right. No, neither government comes out looking good in this. And of course, the migrants, refugees are caught in the middle, Professor. But that border there with Poland isn't the only border that Belarus shares with the EU. It also shares a border with Lithuania and another state. So do you think we could see this repeated?
Well, it very much depends on the outcome of that particular case, because it will be used as some sort of role model for future situations. If it leads to a situation in which the EU appears to be divided and unable to get their act together and unable to formulate something like a coherent migration policy, then any time if Putin or Lukashenko needs a divided European Union or put the blame on the high moral tone of the European Union that they sign international agreements and asylum and human rights standards that they don't live up to, then the blame is on the European Union that we don't deliver the moment people in need come to our borders and we don't care. The situation in Lithuania was fundamentally different, but they have a different government. They don't need to show off as hardliners to tap the xenophobic feelings in the country. They acted in a humanitarian way according to European Union law, but it will be extremely difficult for a single country to carry the burden of a migration policy of the whole European Union if an integrated migration policy as such doesn't exist.
Well, you put your finger right on it then, haven't you, Professor? That integrated European migration policy has been in need since the migration crisis, as some people called it, of 2015. We're no nearer to having one. I mean, from your understanding, where are the discussions with that, especially in light of what's been happening on the Poland border?
Well, in the urgent situation in 2015-16, the Merkel government at the time took a unilateral act to decide out of humanitarian necessity to take care of people in need. And that was not negotiated with others, and they felt as condition takers and were strictly against this unilateral act of a German move that was then expected to be lifted on a European Union level according to humanitarian standards, the rule of law, and what we successfully practice in Germany as a cosmopolitan, open model of society in which everyone benefits from immigration. This is very different in countries that have a different understanding of what the nation is, and in which societies are much more conservative, also more religious, and have an potential of xenophobia that populist governments or populist leaders in the opposition can easily tap. And this is a big risk in democratic societies, that if you do something for people in need, this can fire back, because if someone is afraid of the other, it could affect the outcome of elections.
Absolutely right. Okay, Professor Ulrich Brueckner, really thankful for your expertise. Thank you so much for being with us.